Okay, episode 4 of WandaVision has come and gone, and we have a few things to say about it after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and I have to say that without going too deep into the fan theories about WandaVision Episode 4, this has been probably the most self-aware episode of the series so far. When we go into this, it's kind of like the opening scenes to Family Ties, even the redecoration of the house for this particular episode resembles that. And we're back to audience laugh tracks and things such as this, intercut with reactions from the sword group that's outside of the city. And they're now referring to this area that is encased into this sitcom as the hex. They point out the number of hexagons that are used in the course of the show. And that harkens back to Guardians of the Galaxy, where a hex is a way to jump across their faster-than-light travel. So that's indicates some kind of parallel universe kind of thing. Still, it was created, and they go directly for some of the fan theories in this episode, and it's voiced by Vision himself, who is starting to have doubts about where he is and who he is. He notices the changes that are happening in this and how quickly the children have grown. And actually, Agnes is over at a point that the children grow all of a sudden when they say they're too young to have a dog, and then grow from 5 years old to 10 years old. Now, the interesting thing is, of course, that Agnes is not at all bothered by this, and that bothers Vision that Agnes is not bothered by this. And this is leading into a lot of the fan theories that Agnes may know where they are. And in fact, either her unnamed husband, Ralph, who has been guessed as Mephisto, or herself, a pretty good witch, if she is actually Agatha rather than Agnes, could indicate that someone else has created this hex region and not Wanda. Wanda obviously knows that it's there, but it's working in her favor and she wants to stay there. Although there are some things that come to her as a surprise, like the children growing, like the dog, and other things that are as much of a surprise to her as it is to Vision. So the show seems to be a great deal more self-referential in that Agnes actually sees the boys growing very quickly. In a fan theory I've read even says that perhaps she had something to do with it. She sprayed some kind of spray over them, some kind of herbal spray that was supposed to stop them from crying, and suddenly they got from infants to about 5 years old, and then at a time when they wanted to keep the dog, and Wanda and Vision say, well, you should wait until you're more responsible, like when you're 10, and Agatha's in the room with them at that time when the boys grow to be 10 years old immediately. And in point, later on, Wanda threatens the boys not to grow again just to get out of trouble. So some of this stuff appears not to be in complete control by Wanda, although she seems to know that things that are odd are going on, even as far as being in a sitcom. She seems to realize it, but it's working in her favor, so why complain about it? But Vision is having some kind of existential crisis. It begins with setting up computers at his job, and a message comes to him that disturbs him. He is able to find out from his coworker that he's actually under some kind of influence that is actually hurtful. This is confirmed even with Rambo saying that while she was in the hex, that she felt a force that was restraining her. although even outside of it, she's still trying to be kind of apologetic of it. We find out also that things are changed in their view, but not actually in their construction, which is an interesting thing. The armored Kevlar vest that she wears going in was converted into clothes, and her clothing is also made out of Kevlar, although it looked more to the 60s era, which the show was in when she was there. So a number of interesting things here. The surprise at the very ending of it also kind of crosses paths with the Marvel Universe that exists between formerly two studios, which are now merged into one, and indicates that we probably will see more of the franchise that was on 20th Century Fox, like Deadpool and X-Men, more in line with the other Marvel Universe characters of the Avengers and such. So that should be interesting to see how they go forward on that. And all of the unseen characters and the motivations of people like the Head of Sword and the threat, perhaps, that Wanda poses to Sword is something of interest here. Is she going to be a villain coming up? Or is she going to be shown as kind of an unwitting victim of another? So it's a bit confusing, but there are 1,000 Easter eggs in it that other people have pointed out. I won't do it here. You can read about these things in various places that are writing about it, but and all of it is speculative, but it does make some point that there is liable to be a kind of a lead from this series into what comes next, which would be Doctor Strange, which could be a involvement of some of the other Marvel characters we've not yet seen in most of the Marvel movies. So an interesting episode, a one which shows a bit of distressingly cognizant characters in this, and we'll have to see where it goes from here. Only a few episodes left, but it holds our interest, and that's the best thing that any show can do, I suppose. I'd like to know what you think about it. Please put it in the comments and let me know about that below. And, of course, if you have not subscribed, please do, and click the bell as well so you'll know when the next video comes your way. And until that time, don't go far.